I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. Today's title is the TikTok candidate. Mamdani is China's TikTok candidate. And before I discuss Mamdani, I think I need to preface it by talking a bit about the late Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated earlier this week. Charlie Kirk worshiped Trump. Trump is a sadistic, fascist, white supremacist degenerate. And that's who Trump is. And I could say a lot of other words that are toilet words that would greatly describe him. However, Charlie Kirk worshiped Trump and stated or falsely accused Jesus of having anointed Trump to do the work and so-called save America. So therefore, that makes Charlie Kirk, if you will, a sadistic, fascist, white supremacist degenerate as well, in as much as that he worshiped the same. He and Mamdani are in the same age category. Charlie Kirk was 31, Mamdani is 33. They are what you would call bookends, but not accurate matching bookends, but bookends to an idea of young men, and they're being bookend or contemporary bookends, I should say. The godless AI generation and its birth and the TikTok power drove many of the people of that generation, or this generation, into the arms of Mamdani. That is to say, the ideas of Charlie Kirk, who has been on the stage since 2008 when he started with the Birthers and the Tea Party, of which I used to be a part of. And his ideology and his fast rise to power, grasping the minds of young people from teenage to college age and slightly beyond, the Gen Zers, as they are referred to as, drove, because of Charlie Kirk, many people have been driven in that same age category to the arms of Mamdani, in terms of their running away from his white supremacists, his sadistic, his fascist and dictatorial ideas supported in Donald Trump. And so we need to understand that these young Americans that are in the arms of Charlie Kirk, with his assassination, it remains to be seen what will happen with him, where his followers will go, or will there be someone to pick up his trumpet and continue to blow the horn that he has been blowing for so many years and blowing quite so successfully. It is rumored or alleged that Charlie Kirk was able to amass more than 15 billion, if you will, views on social media. That's a lot of views. To have that many people, whether they were unique views or not, that's still a lot. But I have to tell you, the followers of Mamdani, who have been driven into the arms of Mamdani because of Charlie Kirk, and the followers of Charlie Kirk, they're not coming back to our arms. They're not coming back to the arms of Jesus. They're not coming back to the arms of America. They're not coming back to the arms of the church. That much we must be aware of, and we must be prepared. I'm only going to say what I'm going to say here this time. Perhaps if there's given an opportunity for me to say it again, I will. But I would urge everybody to listen very carefully to what I have to say, because time is not necessarily a wasting, but certainly moving very fast towards the 4th of November. And we don't have very much time left to recover ourselves and save our nation and save the things that are important to us as a people outside of the Kirk and the Mamdani generation, or the Gen Zers as they are referred to. So it is important that everybody listen, and listen very carefully, and I would suggest that you will listen without prejudice. You can dissect and analyze a little bit later, but remove your prejudice right away. One of the things I would like to start out by saying is, what does the Democrats, why is it they have not endorsed Mamdani? He won the Democratic nomination. I don't know if I would say he won it. I would say that Andrew Cuomo lost it, because Cuomo was not a viable force. He was not a spokesperson. He was not a fire in the belly. He had no ideas. He was not interesting. He was thoroughly, if you will, boring. It allowed Mamdani to just slip right past him. Well, people said, why would I want to vote for someone like Cuomo, who was just thoroughly uninteresting? And Mamdani, of course, with his TikTok abilities and the power of China behind him, was able to amass these young people who really don't have a grasp or a sense of understanding of how the world works. The thing that we need to be aware of, the younger the generation, the weaker they become in their understanding. That is to say, 3 generations ago, going back 90 years ago, humanity had a different understanding of the way the world works. Today, young people really don't have a clue as what's meaningful, what's important, or how the world works, or how it should work. And so therefore, they're easily influenced by evil influences around the world, and they're turned off by the things that made us the great nation that we are, made us as we are worshipers of the Lord Jesus Christ. But the Democratic Party, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffers, Governor Hochul, and a bunch of others have not, these leading Democrats have not, if you will, endorsed this winner of the Democrat nomination going back 90 days ago in the person of Zoran Mamdani. And why? Well, there are several reasons. One is that the Democrats fear their loss of both financial and political power, that Mamdani will not serve them. He will not serve their purpose. He will not serve their interest. He will not serve the people whose financial power enabled people like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffers, and a bunch of other Democrats, whoever they may be, including Eric Adams and all across the nation, to gain their positions of power through the financial wealth. Those positions were bought and paid for by the corporate money. And so they fear that they would lose that power, lose that connect. And so therefore they're adamant about not endorsing Mamdani. The Democrats are also fear of losing power over political influence to keep black people racist and poor. You probably don't understand this, and you'd have to be in my age category to appreciate it, but I'll say it anyway because there are people in my age category to understand this. That from Jesse Jackson to Dr. King to Al Sharpton to others, the whole motif of what they do is to fuel black people with anger to make them racist. Now, I could say they're white supremacists or black supremacists in reverse. Al Sharpton is a black supremacist in reverse. You would probably never look at him that way because the thought probably never crosses your mind, because clouding your understanding is way back on the days of slavery. And slavery was so diabolically wrong. So therefore, black people have the right to be angry. Black people have the right to blame white folk for everything that ever happens on the planet. Black people have the right for blaming white folk for all the things that they themselves don't do and don't know and have never done. A man jumped to me on 116th Street last week and said he saw online where I said black people have never built anything. He was angry, and he was yelling, and he was cussing at me on 116th Street and Lenox Avenue. And he was angry with me because he said, I'm not going to vote for you, and nobody should vote for you because you said black people have never built anything. He said, we built America. He kept yelling, we built America. And I didn't say this to him because I didn't want to incite him to the point where he might start swinging on me. But I thought to myself, this wasn't a new thought, I said, well, how is it that you say black people built America? Is that what you're saying? Well, why is it the hell y'all haven't built anything in Africa? I mean, Africa is still run down. It's still a third world, if it's that much of a nation. They still don't have systems in Africa that can compare to most other nations. If y'all black people were so good at building this great nation of America, why the hell don't y'all build Africa? The reason being is that they haven't built Africa because they haven't built America either. But that's another, if you will, teaching in time. And I don't say that because I hate black folk. That's not the issue. It's just the truth. And it needs to be spoken. But they're black supremacists like Al Sharpton, like Jesse Jackson, Martin King, and others have drilled into the minds. And the Democrats, the white Democrats, if you will, themselves, many being progressive and socialists, have lived off of the black vote by keeping black folk angry with white folk. That way they can always get to black vote. As you very well may know, black people have not always been Democrats. They were once Republicans at one time by large numbers, going back to the days of Abraham Lincoln. And during the days when black people were most successful, when they built Howard University, when they built Spelman, when they built the banks and insurance companies and the institutions that they built, the Tuskegee Institute, during those years, black people were Republicans. They weren't Democrats. it was only when the blacks began to follow the ideas of Dr. King that they switched from Republican to black. But most people don't know that, and most don't care to know it. But the one thing I want to focus on without going too far afield is that the Democrats make their living by teaching black folk how to be angry, and rather than looking within themselves to rebuild, restructure their own abilities, and they just keep telling the white man, you owe us this, you owe us reparation, you owe us. And so therefore they haven't grown, they've gotten worse. But the white Democrats, if you will, the progressives themselves, rely upon these votes in order to, so it's really a form of black supremacy is what we have, and what black people are afraid, white people around, the Democrats, are afraid of losing if Mamdani becomes the mayor of New York City. Ultimately, white supremacy and the members of white supremacy and the youth, they've all been lost as well, in terms of they're not coming back to Gen Zers, are not coming back to any point of reality. That's over with. Both Mamdani and Charlie Kirk are representatives or contemporaries and bookends of opposite ideas about Gen Zers and about their youth. Charlie Kirk, recently assassinated, had a very large following. And one of the things I heard a few months ago was that young people, mainly J-5 people, all over America, Gen Zers, are signing up to vote, signing up to run for political office because they've been inspired by Mamdani the way that many whites have been inspired by Charlie Kirk. So they're contemporary bookends, but of course of the opposite ideologies. Strangely enough, and I pray that this is absolute before Almighty God as I stand here, while we were out during the West Indian Day Carnival that they also refer to as a parade, for whatever reason, Mamdani got off of his float, which was 3 floats behind our float, and ran up to our float. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Minister Matos was holding our sign where I knocked out Mamdani, what you just heard a few moments ago, and he read it. And Sabbath said when he read it, he laughed at it, and then ran on up several other floats. But as he was running further up, Elizabeth and I didn't know he was there because Elizabeth and I were sitting at the very front. I didn't know what was going on to our right side. But I saw him running up, and he purposely zeroed in to catch my eyes. I caught his eyes, and he gave me a thumbs up, Mamdani did. And just as a natural response, I gave him a thumbs up as I was realizing who he was. I didn't know first who he was, but anybody giving a thumbs up out there, I wanted to give them a thumbs up as well. I felt they were in support of me. But by the time I'd raised my thumb, I realized it was him. But when I looked into his small, beady eyes, I saw absolute fear in his eyes as the two of our eyes connected with one another, as my eyesight is as good as it is to catch that. He knows who I am, and he knows what I'm speaking today is truth. He knows what I'm telling you and I'm telling the world today has never been revealed. He knows that the covers that the devil has used for so long to dupe people through Kirk and through Mamdani has never been revealed. It's been hidden, but now it's being revealed. He fears that, and he knows that I know it, and he knows that I will continue to speak it. But I think that what we need to understand is what Mamdani does is that he breeds immorality, not just with his ideology that prostitution should be made legal. Someone said some time ago that prostitution is the oldest profession on the planet. Well, it very well may be. I know it's a pretty important one for society going back years ago. But he said that prostitution, they call it sex working now. Not sure exactly why they changed the tune. That it should be legal, that you shouldn't be arrested for prostituting or walking what they refer to in years gone by as the whole stroll, that you should be able to do that. It's interesting that he would say that. We find ourselves in perhaps the greatest pimp that has ever lived. Iceberg Slim has been taken over by a fellow by the name of Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody has had clients, no pimp has ever had clients like Jeffrey Epstein. No pimp has ever had as many, if you will, horses in his stable as did Jeffrey Epstein. This man's ability to pimp, and of course his number one stable horse was Ghislaine Maxwell, or Elaine Maxwell, or whatever might be the appropriate. but he was a pimp like no other pimp. And he pimped to the larger, more powerful people and men globally. And all his prostitutes were mostly young. When they reached the age of 17 or 18, he dissed them, said they were too old. The older men wanted younger women. It's interesting that Mamdani should think that that kind of lifestyle should be permitted, that there should be nothing wrong with it. Because once you remove the legal statutes regarding arrest and how to be arrested and prosecuted within the court system for prostitution, you also lose the morality of it as well, that there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know if y'all heard about Jamal Bryant down in Atlanta, Georgia, talking about using the land of the church to grow weed, to grow whatever it is that they call it, marijuana. He said, we need to use our land to grow, the church is going to grow marijuana and sell marijuana, Jamal Bryant. Once you remove the stigma that it's illegal, then people will pick it up as something that's not immoral anymore. Of course, Jamal Bryant has been immoral from the day his mama conceived of him. That witch was probably immoral as well. But once the laws are rescinded regarding prostitution, Jeffrey Epstein would not be held in the kind of contempt that he's held in at present. Not only that, but Mamdani would destroy the work ethic. Young people don't work as hard as a generation ago, or 2 generations ago. Now they don't know it because they don't understand it. They don't work as hard. I remember years ago, if you were found with a calculator in the classroom, the teacher would put you out of the class. You could not bring any kind of instruments into the classroom to assist you with your schoolwork. It all had to come from here. It had to come from your hard work. It had to come from your spirit and your structure. Not today. I mean, AI writes, if you will, programs for children, for school students, and does their math exams. There just isn't. And beyond that, there isn't, and I'm not here putting young people down. That's not what I'm here to do. God forbid. I'm just giving you what is the truth. Young people have no idea what a hard day's work is, and perhaps never will. For those days are gone. And you can say, well, Pastor Manning, you're crying, you're melancholic about something that's never going to return. It's not that. It's just that what goes forward is so distressing because people are missing the essence of life. And that's what the Democrats have done. And that's what Mamdani will do in destroying the work ethic. A free government grocery store. I mean, food stamps, okay. I suppose some people need food stamps. That's bad enough. But to have a free government grocery store where you just go in and pick up what you want and write the tab out to the government is unheard of in terms of what does that do to the morality of people. I think food stamps in many ways have been the ruination of a lot of people because they've relied upon it rather than getting up off their duff and trying to make a living for themselves. They've relied upon the government to put food on the table. But a free government supermarket? Talking about a free lunch, Mamdani proclaims. And a free bus ride. Everybody get on and off the bus. I don't know why they need to make that free. It looks like to me when I'm standing out there, people are getting on and not paying anyway. Getting on and getting off and still aren't paying. But to give a free bus ride is simply to destroy the morality, is to destroy the constitutional inner beings that make us who we are. And that's what he's about. And that's why the Gen Zers are running after him like you won't believe. I think that in fact, I know when we understand what is happening with both the youth of Charlie Kirk and the youth of Mamdani is that they're never going to return again. I'm going to ask you to stand for just a moment. I want to say this with your standing. There are a large number of people, as I said before, the Democrat Party. They have not endorsed Mamdani, and they're doing everything within their power to keep him from winning the election. Even Trump has entered into the game, trying to get Adams and that other boy with the red cap to get out of the race so it might be more competitive between just 2 people. But I need to say this, and that people are searching every which kind of way to discover how to defeat Mamdani. He's running 45 percentage points. He's ahead of everybody else by double digits. Elizabeth had a doctor's appointment on this past Friday, yesterday, I think it was. Was it yesterday or Thursday? I'm not sure which now. And a doctor that was of a Hebrew Jewish sort said to her that a large number of Democrats and other New Yorkers and people who want to save New York City have gotten together to try to find somebody that can beat Mamdani. And I think former police commissioner Ray Kelly is a part of that group. Governor Hochul is a part of it. And several other prominent, if you will, Democrats are in that. They understand that Cuomo can't do it. So they're looking now for somebody that can beat Mamdani. Because they know Adams can't do it, Cuomo can't do it, and Sliwa can't do it either. So they're putting together, they're raising money, they're trying to find a candidate. I'd like to make a suggestion. I don't know whether it will be well received or whether it will be outrightly rejected. I don't know. I'm just making it out of a sense of my understanding of truth. I'd like to make a suggestion that this party that's looking to find a candidate to tell Eric Adams to endorse James David Manning as the mayor of the city of New York. That if Eric Adams, he doesn't have to step out of the race, just endorse me. Stand before the television cameras and say, I endorse James Manning. But not stopping them. If they're seriously looking for someone who can defeat Mamdani, I don't know what needle in the haystack they're looking for. But I would also suggest that Andrew Cuomo would stand before the cameras of the world and say, I endorse James Manning to be the next mayor of the city of New York. Now, with those two endorsements, and not just those two endorsements, but those two would get on the campaign trail and stand beside me when I go to 149th Street and 3rd Avenue and say, we're campaigning with the next mayor of the city of New York. Mamdani would not have a snowball's chance in hell of winning the election if they did that too. Now, will they listen to me? Think about it for just a second. How well do you listen to me? How well do you believe what I say? Think of the hurdles that they're going to have to deal with, because there's so many opposite ideals to when I stand behind this desk and speak the truth, and you've got so many currents of opposite ideals of black supremacy, white supremacy, racism, ignorance going 90 going north. So the words I speak, which are genuine seeds of power and truth, are rejected. I suspect that perhaps someone in the crowd will say what James Manning is saying is the only way we're going to save New York City. That these two candidates stand beside him to the right and the left and endorse him and then go forward with him as the mayor of the city of New York and campaigning. I might add that if they were able to do this, I'd be willing to give them lofty positions within my administration, within the Manning administration. Those of you who are near and dear, think about this for just a second. Think about this. The way the election is now going, the deep search that the Democrats have, they refuse to acknowledge their own candidate. The tenacity with which I have fought, the vast amount of experience that I have, the genuineness that I'm a people person. I help people. I've always done it. Now, they don't always appreciate it because I tell the truth. For just one fleeting second, could this be God? Could this be a setup? Could this possibly be that God has set it up that I am the only one that can take him down? And if they do not recognize it, then they fail and the city is lost if they don't recognize it. I understand that it's a setup. And God has prepared me over all these years to come to that point and come to that position. You may take your seats. I said that Mamdani is the TikTok candidate. Is that what I said? Yeah. TikTok has been adjudicated and adjudged as an evil source and spirit in America. I think ByteDance is the owner, a Chinese organization that owns TikTok. And that has been adjudged over the past year and a half as an influence upon the minds of our young people. And so there's been legislation and there's been a lot of talk about removing TikTok from the opportunity for Americans to be able to engage on that platform. And at one point, it looked like TikTok was gone. But Trump, the degenerate, stepped in and saved it. And now it's as forceful as it ever has been. TikTok is a degenerate. It's an anti-God. It's an anti-American. It's an anti-spirit that is now allowed to run through our children's bedrooms, through our schools' classrooms, through our churches, through our businesses' administration. TikTok is running wild among the people. And not only is it running wild, but it's destroying morality as it goes. Talk about the Manchurian candidate, or a fake candidate or a fake association or assassination to destroy America, to put a person in place to actually destroy America. Last week, a week before, Xi Jinping, who is the president or leader of China, met with Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, and I think his name is Modi, Prime Minister Modi of India, along with some others that are now representing what the Bible refers to as Gog and Magog. That what we're looking at now is a takeover of America through the process of China. And if Mamdani gets hold of the helm of the city of New York, you can kiss the rest of it goodbye. Not only that, but the idea is that he will give the power that he will give to these Gen Zers who don't believe in God, who don't believe in our morality. He will give them power where there'll be no way to stop them from destroying everything that we consider sacred, that we consider what God would have us to do. We're at a very dangerous time where China has found a way to walk inside of America with a Manchurian candidate to actually put Mamdani in the position. Everybody has said that he's a social media platform candidate. They never said he was a civil rights candidate. They never said he was a philosopher. They never said he was a humanitarian. They said he won his position on social media. Don't you understand? Can't you just see that China has put this man in power and will keep him in power? Because the young people are going to continue to go back to TikTok. They're going to continue to go back, and he's going to continue to feed them. And not just that. I had a big argument with one of our former employees about how the social media platforms have been algorithming me. And every time I'd say it, he'd act like I didn't know what I was talking about. You know, I'm not computer savvy. I don't spend a lot of time learning how to maneuver the various things about computer. Right now, my face identity for one of my bank accounts, somehow or another, the face identity ID just went off, and now I don't remember what the password is. I don't know what I don't know. So I got to go to Matos and have a reset so I can put my face up. No, I don't do that, but I'm nobody's fool. Just because I am not savvy at how to punch various keys, it doesn't mean I don't understand evil. For years, the social media platform have boycotted me. They've actually prevented me from my message from getting out. How can it, 10 years ago, I could put out a video and it would reach 10 million people in one day? How is it that my doing that now I put out a video and I barely can reach 10? What's the difference? What's the difference? Except they are controlling the message. They are controlling who hears what. And they are controlling what young people are hearing. And it's coming from China. It's not coming from God. It's coming from a force and a source that will destroy rather than build. And so it's important that we understand the time in which we're living in and the time of what's happening to our young people, that they're gone and they're not coming back. Charlie Kirk and his people. Mamdani and his people. It's important that we see the two of these as contemporaries, as I pointed out. Were it not for TikTok, Brad Lander would have won the Democrat nomination. Had this been a regular without Chinese involvement, without Chinese import, without China directing the minds of these young people who went out and voted. Anybody over 40 or 50 years of age, there ain't no way they would have voted for in the primary, unless you're just absolutely devoid of understanding. There's no way you would have voted for Mamdani. All the people that voted for him were teenagers for the most part, or college students. Anybody with any reasonable experience in life would never check Mamdani, realizing who he is and what he stands for. And so it's important that we understand Brad Lander would have been the primary candidate if TikTok had not intervened, if China had not intervened the way they have intervened. So he's on the sidelines now. I would say this, as I said to you before, about Gog and Magog. It's happening. There's one other thing I'd like to say, and then I'm going to turn y'all loose. I think we have other things that we need to try to accomplish today. And that is this. We need to boycott New York One News. Now, one may think that they're a big entity because they're all over the place. They're all about New York. Everything about the gardens and whatever it is, the parks and the restaurants. They're sort of a community newspaper in a digital form or on television. But they're nobody really important. I've done the research. They only reach 720,000 people per week. That's per week. And if you divide that up, that's like 100,000 people per day. Well, hell, I can reach that many myself in one day. So they're not such a big deal. But I think we ought to boycott them. At least I'm saying that they should be boycotted. And that each time they should be boycotted because their power needs to. Here's what happens. Here's what the media does. The media sways their influence towards whatever candidate they think is leading. Doesn't matter who it is. Because what they want is they want access. If Mamdani is winning and will win the mayor's office, New York One is going to show favoritism to him above all other candidates because they want access to him once he becomes the mayor. They want access to the power that he has. They want access to his followers. So whether they believe in him or not, they believe in the bottom line. That's the dollar and what the profits stand. So they're now leaning towards Mamdani, New York One. And not that that's not the reason why they should be boycotted, but they're leaning towards him because of the bottom line. And I think that by boycotting New York One, because they can easily be taken out. If you only got 720,000 viewers, and these are not unique viewers, per week, then you don't have very much of an audience or very much of power. And so I think they ought to be taken down as signs to MSNBC, a warning to MSNBC, a warning to CNN, a warning to ABC, and a warning to CBS that we can take you down too. We can pull your plug if we unite. We can stop whatever influence you have on the elections. Because many of these institutions pick who they want to be, for instance, and pick who they don't want. I've been out here now for 10, 11 months. You've never seen me on television. Why? Why? I slept on the street for 3 days and 3 nights. That's not newsworthy? I'm running as a pastor out of Harlem? You mean to tell me nothing I've said, nothing I've done, even been kicked off the ballot 3 times? I don't get 1 second of airtime? Why? Because they don't want me in power. They know putting a microphone in front of me and a camera that I'm going to go to town, and they don't want that to happen. They are trying to select when I could be the best mayor in New York City. They're saying, we don't want the best mayor. We want this one or we want that one. So if that's what they're doing to me, America needs to rise up, New York needs to rise up and boycott them. If they're boycotting me, hell, let's boycott them. Let's take them down. We don't need them. Probably somebody saw that on the announcement board because it's out there now. Well, he ain't gonna never be president or mayor, rather. You can't be talking about these people like this. Get out of my face with your weak ass. Listen, weak people do not ever win power. Your idea is be nice, be quiet, don't let anybody see it, don't say anything bad, be really nice, don't cuss anybody out. Weak people never gain power. Only the strong survive. Only the strong. And anybody who believes that I'm doing the wrong thing by putting that out there is because you're a weak person. I'm a strong man. And I go up against the giants of the world. Don't do that. Don't say anything. Don't say anything against. Don't call people names. I'm going to call them every name under the book if I can find them, and more. So we need to boycott New York 1. And need to be able to let the world know. Adams and Letitia James, in addition to that, must confess they allowed the theft of black people's property through fraudulent means called a tax lien law. They need to admit that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that right now fundamentally, but I don't think it needs to be said. It needs to be said that Jay-Z must confess that he became a billionaire on the backs of the people in Fort Greene, South Brooklyn. And because he was just a rapper like anybody else, with his whore wife showing her Gap goodie, showing her moneymaker to anybody that would look at it, he was just a regular rapper. But when he got, along with the Jewish land developers in Brooklyn, from the Chase Bank on Flatbush Extension to the Barclays Center, and they allowed him to start selling liquor. I don't know if you remember Jay-Z selling liquor. He ain't manufactured no liquor. He ain't no moonshiner. He was selling cologne, all kind of stuff they were allowing him to sell, and he was making money hand over. None of that stuff they just gave him. So if you give us these black people's land, South Brooklyn, Fort Greene, Bed-Stuy, you give us these black people, you tell these nappy-head black folk to give up this land because you popular, you a rapper. Anyway, black people are crazier than hell listening to rappers. And you a rapper, and anybody, so you tell them to give up their land. You tell them it's worth it. Jay-Z, you got info. Tell them. So they built the Barclays Center. They built the Chase Bank. They built up Brooklyn. Every time I go through, I cry when I go through South Brooklyn of Horton Skimmerhorn. He needs to apologize, needs to repent, needs to turn his money over to the people that he swindled money. He didn't become a billionaire by rapping. He became a billionaire by stealing from black folk, like other black billionaires. Puff Daddy, another one, another pimp, another degenerate that is worship. And so it's important that we understand what I've said here today. I don't know if I get a chance to say it a second time because time is moving so quickly. But I've told the world and I've told the New Yorkers what you need to do if you want to save New York. Otherwise, Mamdani is going to be the mayor. I would think this is what 15% of the people that voted for Mamdani, I believe I can take them back out the crowd. I don't know if I can ever bring them back to the church, but I can take them out of the crowd. But once you give these young people like Charlie Kirk and Mamdani, once you give these young people power that they don't understand what they have, it's what they used to say down in North Carolina, the dog and the chicken blood event. What do I mean by that? Well, my daddy and my uncles and everybody, we had a chicken coop. And it was a big house where the chickens lived. Chickens run around the yard all day long, run around the fields, eat corn, bugs, worms, and everything. Then at night, they go into the lead, they didn't know where to go home. They go to, and we had little rods they would sleep on. They put their claws, they go to sleep, called a chicken coop. And occasionally we'd get a dog that would attack the chickens, kill the chicken and eat the chicken. And my daddy and my uncle and all my cousins and everybody else realized once that dog got to taste of chicken blood, you had to kill him. Because he's going to keep on killing chickens. So it's either kill the dog or he's going to keep on killing chickens. Let me say something to you about these young people and chicken blood power. These young people, Gen Zers, both Charlie Kirk and Mamdani are reveling in the power that they have. They're making the old people scramble. And they're reveling, they got power now. And once they get a taste of power, you ain't gonna never be able to take that power away from them. Let me say something about, this is a little bit of an aside, but I think it will help us, and then I'm through with y'all. As a pastor, and I've been one for 44 years, I got started when I was 7 years old. Anyway. Once a member of the church rises up and strikes the pastor, that's chicken blood. And once they get a taste of chicken blood, then nothing will stop them from striking again and again and again. It's important that we understand that. So when you see people do things, it isn't that it just happened once, and so therefore it's a deal. It's been going on for years. For years it's been going on. It's just that now it's time to kill that dog that's been striking and eating chickens. It's time to kill that dog. They've been eating too many chickens, as it were. Y'all stand up. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up as with wings as eagles. They shall run and not get weary. They shall walk and faint not. I believe that an answer has been given for humanity today. But as you very well know, many ears are closed. But here's what I'm going to do, Elder Ramos. I'm going to pray that this message will find its way into the hearts of people who will recognize that Eric Adams needs to endorse me, that Andrew Cuomo needs to endorse me. I'm not a Democrat, and I never will be, but they need to endorse me. I'm running, if you will, as an independent, whatever that means. I'm not even that either. But an answer has been given. If you're looking for an answer, what you gonna do with it? Because what else is there? What else is there? This is a bit self-serving. There's nobody on this planet more qualified, or just because I don't have 10,000 people sitting up in an auditorium yelling and screaming at me doesn't make me a little man. Don't judge the book by the cover. Don't think that because someone has an audience of 10,000 people yelling and screaming because they came to see a show, that somehow or another that I'm a little man. Don't think that about me. Don't think that about me. No, this is the Lord's house, and I'm the Lord's servant. Amen. So the answer's been given. There's an addendum. Should I become the mayor, I'll have the opportunity to raise up a people that are not a people now.